So to start an Indian head massage, have your client sitting in a comfy stool, have the back area exposed so that when you're working on the back and they've got their head placed on the pillow, that you can work there nice and easily and there's nothing blocking you. You want to also make sure the client has no jewellery on that you can catch when you're working during the treatment. And finally, to make sure that their feet are on the ground and their legs aren't crossed so they're nice and relaxed during the treatment. So to begin on the scalp, we can use oil if we want to, but this is one of the few massages where you don't have to use oil, and today we're going to do it without, just to show you. What we do is we just effleurage, and it gets the client used to our touch, warms up the tissues for future moves, and just helps to prepare the client and yourself for the full treatment that's involved. So your effleurage just starts at the middle of the head, works down the neck, the outline of the arms, and just off at the elbows. Other movements that you can do are finger circles, and when you do these, just start from the middle and work down in sections. And we're speeding this up for the benefit of the video today, but take your time and do it nice and slowly. So your strips would be from the middle, sort of working to the outside, all the way down to the occipital bone just at the back of the head, and then down just in the outer strip, just along the outline of the hair, just past the ears. But again, take your time and do it really slowly. You can also do hair pulls and very gentle hair twists and tugs. And again, take your time, just work all the way over the head. Very gentle pull, nothing too severe, you don't want to make it uncomfortable. You can do this on shorter hair too, but obviously if it's too short, then you can just leave that move out. We can also do strokes through the hair, and it's almost as if you're combing through with your fingers. And again, the slower the better, and don't be afraid to really get in there, and you can even sort of zigzag in. It feels really nice and relaxing, and you can also work underneath too. We can pluck, which is quite good for stimulating hair growth. And again, you're almost sort of pinching with your fingers. This is where you start to see the volume in the hair. And you can do hand stroking, where one hand strokes over the scalp while the other hand comes up to start again. And you can either do this one hand alternate then the other, or you can do two hands together. And again, take your time, because the slower, the more relaxing. You can do static pressures, which is very similar to your circles, except rather than moving your fingers, you're just pushing in and then releasing. And again, these are all designed to relax or stimulate the nerve endings in the scalp, but it's also good for bringing circulation and blood to the scalp area, which is really good for boosting healthy hair growth. When you're doing this, again, working your strips from the inside out, and take your time. If you've done a lot of stimulating moves, you can drain, which is a bit like the effleurage, but you're just draining to the neck. So if you feel that you've done quite a lot of stimulating moves, maybe just pop some, maybe 2 or 3 draining moves in, just to relax and soothe. You've also got tapping, which again is really good for boosting circulation. And again, you can tap all over the head. You can also squeeze and lift, so you get right under the hair, and you just very gently squeeze the scalp and lift your fingers to interlock with each other. Hold for a second and then gently release. And that feels really nice, and it's quite a loosening move if a lot of people get headaches. Just take your time, very gentle squeeze, and then release. And as well as doing it from side to side, you can also do it from front to back. So again, your hand goes underneath the hair, very gently, a little bit of tension on the scalp, and then release. You can maybe do that 2 or 3 times. That's ideal for people that suffer from headaches or migraines. And we also have some hacking. Only do hacking once you've fully warmed up the area, and keep it really gentle and keep your wrists loose. But this is another stimulating move. If anyone wants to try and encourage really healthy hair growth, then you can do this, and it will bring lots of circulation, lots of blood and nutrients to the scalp area. There's lots more moves that you can do, but that's just a good selection for the scalp. So when you're finished, just start with effleurage and finish with effleurage. So all the way down from the head, over the neck and shoulders, and down at the arms. So you'd expect to spend maybe about 15 to 20 minutes on the scalp when you're doing an Indian head massage. So when you move on to the neck, when you're working with one hand on the neck, support at the forehead with the other hand so that the head isn't moving about too much and you don't want to cause discomfort to your client. So what you can do with the neck is sort of scooping action at the base of the neck, working up to the occipital bone, and make sure that you really connect this full area of your hand with the neck area so that you get the full benefit. And again, the slower the better, so just take your time and scoop up and release. And other moves that you can do are to use the heel of your hand and just briskly rub up and down this area, but just make sure that you're avoiding working over the spine because that's too sensitive an area. And if you find it too awkward to work all the way around, then just swap hands and you can work in the same manner over the other side. You can also do finger circles. Again, start just either side of the spine, support the forehead, and just do tiny little circles, and very slowly your hand just widens until eventually your hand is fully stretched and your thumb is almost at one ear and your index finger is almost at the other. And again, you're just taking your time, very slow circles. If someone's quite tense, you might actually feel the sort of grit in the tense muscles. You might even feel some knots and nodules. And then finally, once you've done that on the neck, you can do a few more grasps and then you can actually drain down to finish. And again, just support and just very gently use the heel of your hand to drain down. And if there's any toxins, any waste in that area, you're draining them to the nearest nodes. Right, so to work on the shoulder area, you can do some effleurage again just to warm it up. So start either side of the neck and just work over the shoulders and down to the elbows. You can do some shoulder kneading, which you can use your fingers and your thumbs and just take your time and start either side of the spine. You can work up the neck, so you can do little thumb circles all the way up the neck, and then you can work very slowly down over the shoulders, right to the edges. And again, just take your time. You can also do the same with your fingers and just get those circles. You probably will feel knots and crunches. Keep going because you're loosening off this area and you're really helping your client. So you would do this about 3 times. You can also do some knuckles to knead, where you can just work over the area with your knuckles. And again, don't be afraid to put some pressure in. It feels really nice, especially just up the neck area. Just loosens everything off. If you think you've done quite a lot and there was quite a lot of crunching, then you can always do a little bit of effleurage just to encourage any lymphatic drainage in between. Really effective move is to use your forearms and very gently but firmly press down either side of the neck and just work your way out. Don't put in too much pressure because it's painful if it's too heavy, but quite a firm pressure really helps to loosen. And if someone's got quite tight shoulders, they might not realise how raised they were, so you're encouraging them to relax and bring their shoulders back down again. And hacking again, just make sure, like we always say, loose wrists, but you can spend quite a bit of time here. If the client's got their vest on, you can see the redness in the skin. That's good, that's erythema. We're bringing the circulation to the surface, we're boosting the skin with nutrients, and we're helping to warm up those muscles and ease tension. Just make sure that you don't work directly over the spine again, because that's very uncomfortable. And then to finish, again, just your effleurage. Normally about 3 to 6, but as many as you feel that that client needs, just to finish off that shoulder area and stay relaxed. Like we always say, take your time. The slower the move, the more relaxing and beneficial. So for arm massage, again, if you need to, you can do some effleurage, so just some light stroking from the shoulders down to the elbows. Quite a nice move for the arms is actually to take your forearms and very gently squeeze and release. And if you're quite tall, just bend down but keep your back straight so that you don't end up hurting yourself. So just do very gentle squeezes, maybe about 2 or 3 times over the area. It helps to warm up the muscles, relax the client, and actually feels quite nice. It's quite an unusual move to do. We can also do some skin rolling, where you just very gently move the skin. You're making sure that you don't pinch it though, but you're just moving your hand so that the base of your hand comes to meet your fingers. But if you do pinch, then it's obviously not going to feel very nice for the client, so make sure it's a very gentle roll and you're just skimming over the skin. So again, take your time with that. This might be the one move where you do feel that you need oil, just in case you feel that you're pulling the skin. But again, it's quite a nice move, it's quite relaxing. And this is another area that benefits from hacking. Just watch your posture when you're working on your client. So bend your legs and keep your back straight. Maybe about 30 seconds each side, and just make sure that you cover that arm area. And then when you're finished, it's just another effleurage, a drain. So when we move to the back massage part of Indian head massage, you ask your client to place their head either on a pillow or a rolled up towel on your table, and you make sure that the back is nice and aligned. When you're ready to work on the spine, you ask your client to actually put their forehead on the pillow so that you've got absolute precision when you're working either side, because you don't want to have any twists in the spine. To warm up the back, just do some brisk heel rubs just all over the area. And as usual, do this about 3 or 6 times all over, just to make it nice and warm. And then you can do heel massage with a figure of 8 movement over the shoulders and over the scapula area. And it's double-handed kneading using the heel of your hand. And you're just taking your time and working over this top area. You can do that double-handed, or you can actually do single-handed and just work over the same area, either using 2 hands or supporting and using 1 hand. And again, it's in the same way. You can also do thumb frictions, and you're just feeling for any knots and nodules. And if you do feel some, just manipulate them and then push to the nearest node so you can release all the toxins. We can also do some thumb pressures up the spine, and this is where you would ask your client just to pop their forehead completely flat on the towel. So what you do is you feel down the spine, you start at the base, and either side you press in and release with your thumbs. And you very gently would work up the entire spine area, each vertebrae at a time, and then when you're finished, you can push and release and push and release. You can also do some knuckling either side of the spine, just to release any tension. And if they've got any soreness at the base of the back, you can do thumb circles and thumb frictions, just working out from either side of the spine out to the hips. And again, if you do the thumb circles and thumb frictions, then just run your fingers over there at the end just to release any lymphatic fluid. And again, once you're finished, you can do a little bit more of your brisk rubbing over the area, and then you can very slowly and gently tell your client just to sit up, and you can move on to the next area. So when you're coming to the end of your Indian head massage, it's really nice to do some face massage. So we can start just by doing very gentle stroking in the forehead. So you can do alternate hand stroking, or you can do 2 hands at the same time. You can do alternate cheek stroking, or again you can do both at the same time. And it's also nice to do little circles on the jaw. Just start from the middle of the chin and just do very gentle circles and work your way out. And again, you can do them alternate, or you can do them both at the same time. And then when you've done that, you can also just drain the area. It's also quite nice just to press in and do some gentle finger pressures there too. and whatever you do, just drain afterwards. It's also quite nice to do little circles around the eyes, and then some very gentle eyebrow pinching. Then when you finish, you can do some temple circles, some kneading of the ears, and then if you hold your hands over the ears, the heat that's trapped there is quite relaxing. The coolness and calmness is also quite nice for the client. And then just to finish, you can slide off just over to the elbows and release. You can pop your hands on your client's shoulders, let them know that you're finished, go and get them a glass of water and give them their aftercare.